Fear restricts us from taking action in our lives on the things that God is calling us to do. We may feel like God has abandoned us and we have to make every decision on our own, when really we're too stuck in fear to hear the way that God is calling us. How do we hear the voice of God when we're stuck in fear and analysis paralysis? How do we stay obedient to God when we're stuck in the desert? And how do we finally break free? Welcome back to this video, guys. Welcome back to Earnest Mondays. I'm really excited to be sharing this video with you, and I'm excited to be talking about fear and how it holds us back from following the will that God has over our lives. The fear of making any mistake at all, it keeps us entrapped into this familiarity of what we are currently in. It keeps us stuck in the same old, when really we feel God calling us in our lives to do more, to be more, to try something different. And yet analysis paralysis and this fear of making the wrong move or choosing the wrong thing or taking the wrong direction, it halts us in our steps. It halts us and keeps us where we are. But that's not what God wants for you. That is fear. You may not be making the decision or taking that step forward for an abundance of reasons. Like maybe it doesn't feel like it's the right time. Maybe you can't hear God's voice. Maybe you're not with the right person yet. Maybe you feel like you're meant to move cities. But all of that is irrelevant to following the will of God. Because when you can hear God's voice very clearly, He will be very specific and clear in how He wants you to move forward. And it's not going to be huge, gigantic steps, although sometimes it might be. A lot of the times it's obedience. Small, consistent steps towards the will of God. Small, consistent steps, the practice, the practicum of what God is asking you to do, and being in alignment with that, being in servitude to that. Why is this important? Why does this matter? Because if you want to be doing what God wants you to be doing, if you want to be glorified by God and, be in this purposefulness with God, then you need to be hearing His voice and you need to step out of that fear. God says there is no mistake. God said there are no mistakes that you can make. God has overcome the world, and if you place your life in the hands of God, anything that you choose will be turned for good. Anything that you do will be for the betterment of your life, of your purpose, of your evolution, and you can turn it for good when you are aligned with God. So not taking the job because you think maybe it's not the right thing to do, not moving to that city because you're not sure how things are going to work out. This is faith. This is how we walk with God. We walk in faith. We walk in the unknown. We're blind. Only God can see. And that's why we give our lives to Him, because He can see and He can move for us. John 16:33, I have told you these things so that in me you have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. It's so hard to be affirmed by this world, to find purpose when our hearts are enmeshed and attached to the workings of this world. We don't take the action that we want to be taking. We don't do the thing that we want to be doing. We stay stuck in analysis paralysis because we are waiting to be affirmed by the world. We are waiting to be affirmed by our external environments. But God says, I have overcome the world. Lean on me. Come to me and I will give you rest. I will give you a plan. I will give you a purpose. I will give you abundance. The way that God speaks is in a whisper. The way that God speaks is through faith, obedience, and He will just show you when you are walking with Him. You will see things, you will feel things, and there's this sense of affirmation that only God can give you through synchronicities, through things lining up, through things just effortlessly falling into place. And a lot of the times God's going to ask you to jump in faith, in blindness, out of that fear into His hands, and you're not going to know the outcome. And it's going to be a leap of faith, which is what God calls us to do in this lifetime, to be in faith. So we trust, we fall in obedience. And how do we build this obedience? How do we allow ourselves to fall in faith? By building a relationship with God, by building a connection with God, by sitting with the Lord, by communing with the Lord, by communing with people who are also in relationship with God. allowing your life and your body to become the altar. When we are building with God. We're not building with ourselves. That would be so pointless. It would never work out. But when we are building with God, we have a teacher, we have a guide, we have somebody to provide all of the parts and the pieces. We have somebody to provide and produce with. Somebody who has the material, somebody who has the wealth, somebody who has the foresight, somebody who has the plans and the map. We don't have any of that, so we can't build with ourselves. We can only build with Him. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God knows that you have a future. God sees you waiting. God sees you yearning for that relationship with Him. But what's stopping you from building it, from sitting with Him, from taking the time to build this practice? Connection with the Lord is a practice. Connection and building this life that you want, it requires this boldness, this courage, this patience, this capacity to build something. Not to just like go out and do it, because you can't just do it once and think that it's going to last a lifetime. Pray once and you're going to get everything that you ever wanted. No, God wants a relationship with you. And the more that you build a relationship with God, the clearer His voice will be in your heart and in your body and in your mind. You will hear Him clearly. Romans 8:28. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. So trust that even if you are, fearful of taking that next step, of making that move, of putting yourself on the line of, maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe you're going to look like a fool. Maybe things aren't going to, align how you thought they would. Just take the leap of faith and give it to God ultimately, and ask God to speak it over you. Ask God to guide you in that experience. What should you be doing? Ask God to guide you. Ask God to lead you. And don't wait for God to appear in front of you in physical form to actually make the decision, because that's never going to happen. It will happen at some point, but we're going to be in heaven, and then we're going to bring heaven to earth. But don't wait for God to appear in front of you. God is with you, and God is trying to speak to you, but sometimes we really just have to go into the silence. Sometimes we really just have to build this practice with Him so that we can hear Him clearly, so that we can walk with Him. You will never receive 100% affirmation. That's why we have free will. That's why we're on this planet, is to learn, is to make mistakes, is to try things, is to build faith in Him and to try and follow His lead. But you're never going to get 100% affirmation. Only after you make the steps, only after you do the thing, you'll see, should I have done this? Should I not have done this? And if not, God is working it for good. Romans 8:28. Lastly, never taking action is just going to keep you in the same old loop that you've been in. So why wouldn't you take action? Why wouldn't you try the thing? Here's the thing as well. You're somatic. Your nervous system is used to what you're in. So when you try to do something new, when you actually take the leap and you go on a date with that person, or you move cities, or you take that job, at first, if it's not what you're used to, your body might say to you, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. Is this what God planned? But here's the thing, you have to wait and you have to be patient, because there's a grace period that you have to give your body to adjust to the new environment, to the new thing. Your body is used to the environment it was in, and it also is used to the experiences that it's had prior. So if you're walking into a new job and you take the leap of faith, and then you just feel like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I feel anxious. I feel uncomfortable. Trust that God is remolding you. God is reforming you. God is allowing you to walk into this new environment, and your body's going to be made anew as well. I personally believe that, and this is my personal opinion, this isn't really biblical, I really believe that the body is so intelligent, especially the nervous system, and it's always communicating to us, and we can trust that. However, we have to be wise to also know that the body is used to patterns. The body is used to creating familiarity. So if your body is used to a specific environment, being in that new environment, it will feel uncomfortable at first. And so we have to kind of differentiate, is my body and my soul and my spirit so uncomfortableness because this is just not right and God is calling me out of it? Or is this experience, this job, this person, this city, is it uncomfortable because it's new and it's fresh and it's unknown? So please be wise about that as well, because, we can lean into that. What is the body communicating with you? But also, is the body entrapped into your past experiences? And we get to remold a new experience for your body if we are loving and patient enough to kind of walk with God and walk with the body through that discomfort, the murky first few weeks. So let's quickly go over all the things that we learned today. Number 1, when you are walking out of fear and out of analysis paralysis, you are walking into faith. You are walking and jumping into God's plan for you with a leap of faith. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to know where you're going. That is faith. Secondly, we build a relationship with the Lord our God. We build a relationship with God. We build that trust and we practice obedience. We practice the experience of being with Him and trusting Him over the affirmation of the world. Third, and finally, God makes no mistakes, and your somatic body is listening. Your nervous system will need to have time to get equipped and to get familiarized with your new environment. And so don't, cut short that experience. Don't, get rid of that experience because it's uncomfortable at first. Sit with it and see how it goes. Sit with it and give yourself patience and time to see, Lord, is this really what you had planned for me? And if not, then I will let it go and I'll give it back to you, God, and we'll take another leap of faith into the next thing. And that will feel so good because you're not going to be looping through analysis paralysis and staying exactly where you are and not being aligned with God's purpose for you in this lifetime, which is so abundant. It's so full of goodness, and God has a will for you. And if you lean on Him, God will show you, God will provide a way. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe down below. And I would love to hear how this resonated for you as well. At the Altar community is now live. You can now join us. We have our first call September 18th, and the donation is really affordable. I've tried to make it as affordable as possible. It's $15 Canadian per month. We have 2 calls per month. They're both an hour long, and we're going to build deep connection with each other, talking about biblical ways that we can grow closer to God every day, live a biblical life, and be in union with God and get closer to God, get closer to each other. If you're looking for intimate relationships that are based on biblical living, if you want to have a conversation with me, this is a great space for us to nurture these relationships together. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys there, September 18th. Links are down below, and I will see you guys next time.